Today's webinar is a very special one. This webinar is on the importance of financial planning, keeping your retirement years in mind. We have our Sarathi Shrikanth today, who's hosting the session for us on behalf of Sukoon Unlimited. And we have a very special human being, Dattatreya, who's joining us from Right Horizons. He's one of the most accomplished professionals I know when it comes to doing prudent financial planning. So it's giving me great pleasure that he's joining us today.
When should a person start planning for his retirement fund? What is the lifespan one should plan for?
Yeah. So very interesting question. So ideally, the the starting of the retirement planning ideally should happen with your first job. But most of the people tend to not to think about it. They will say that I'm quite young. Let me enjoy my money. Let me not to think too much about it. Let me spend for my well-being and then for my family, so on and so forth. Now, in that entire journey, what happens is predominantly people focus on the short term and medium term related goals, and they will not really think long term. And they will say, okay, my retirement is under 30 years. Okay, I contribute 12% of my salary into provident fund, and employer also gives me 12%. 24 is already percent is already contributed. I need not to worry. My retirement is taken care. And people typically do not really worry about the retirement because it's a very long period. After it is going to come after a very long period of time, and somebody who is starting at 25 or 30, and most likely the fact that people will think that I anyways, let me look after my family first, let me take care of my regular goals like kids education, kids grow kids bringing up and all those type of stuff, and then eventually the moment they cross 45, 50, they will start thinking too much about the retirement, and they will have very less time of time. So ideally, retirement planning should start from the day when someone joins the job. So it is also a paramount importance on the parents as such. When our kids do join their job, we should clearly put in their mind saying that, hey, look, you should start thinking about all the financial goals, including your retirement. As I mentioned earlier, retirement is the largest amount of time frame in which you will not be earning, you will be decelerating. At the same time, you need to ensure the money what you have is taking care of you that time without really giving you. Hence, therefore, you should start as early as possible, ideally with the starting of the job, but at least good number of years to accumulate good amount of corpus in a growth countries like India is around 10 to 15 years. So ideally 40, 45 is the right period when somebody can put the money aggressively and ensure build a good corpus for their return.
So, what are the typical financial challenges faced during the retirement?
Yeah, so during the retirement, with my conversation with many of my clients, is that there are three types of things. Okay, one is the emotional, second one is the physical, and the last one is the financial. The emotional and physical predominantly is taken care by the emotional is where I don't live with my kids or kids are not there. I'm living alone. I don't have my friends. Those various aspects, or I need some help. Nobody is there to share my ideas. Nobody is there to share my thoughts. There's no one else to talk to. Those are the emotional. And then it all comes to the physical that I need a dependency. I cannot walk alone. I cannot do my things on my own. I need some support, but there is no one. Okay, and that's translated to emotional. All these two are actually supported by the financial challenges we made, the challenges that we have. For example, if I don't have enough money, I may not be able to keep a physical support. If I don't have enough money, probably I may not be able to really do the things which I wanted to do. Especially if some, let's say I do a lot of, say I do a lot of painting and all, and I need to spend a lot in terms of buying the paints, the colors, sketches, various things which is required for the painting. So I may not have the money. So if I don't have the money, what happens is that I will have automatically have physical and emotional challenges, and therefore for managing the financial things is very, very important. So financial challenges not only necessarily limited to the lifestyle expense, but someone's for example, medical costs are continue to increase day by day. And there are a lot of physical support which is required for the senior citizens. There are challenges with respect to the taxation. There are challenges with respect to the people who will just send one link saying that, hey, look, you are going to make huge amount of money, click this link. Okay, there are various things which will come into the picture, especially for the retired people on the financial aspect, which they need to be careful. So these are the typical financial challenges what retired people will face. Main aspect is where is my next month money is going to come from? Where exactly? Is it going to come from the interest? Is it going to come from the rental income? How I am going to take care of my next months or next few months of living or living expenses? Is the one challenge.
Sir, how should one navigate through financial commitments without creating dependency?
Yeah. So one of the important and foremost thing one should do is that at the beginning of the moment someone retires, the first thing which they should do, they should call their family. If they have dependent kids and all, they have dependent family, they should bring all of them together. Prepare a monthly budget. And ideally, that monthly budget will be converted into yearly budget and try to do at least for next 5 years of budgeting. Okay, with respect to all your expenses. All your expenses starts from your grocery, car expenses, utility, electricity expenses, various expenses. First, put all of them down and adjust it for some inflation, say 5 to 6% year on year. Add at least 10% extra to it. And first, you prepare the expense list. That's the first criteria one should do. And it's very, very important that during the moment someone retires, if they don't do this, what will happen is they would have received a huge amount of money, predominantly from gratuity or provident fund, and they will also be getting some other funds from various insurance, superannuation, various other things, or extra gratia, whatever they get it from the companies. Then what happens is they typically end up spending that money without really doing this plan. So ideally, we suggest that do a proper budgeting of all your expense month on month. This also should include your medical expenses and term covers, which are running today. So make that particular expense. Once that expense is done, then look at all your assets, all your income. Income can be your pension income. Income can be your rental income. Income can be your interest income, what you are getting from the FDs or from the bonds or any other dividend that you are getting on a regular basis. Look at all your income, put them down after that. Your income, we have made the budget which is adjusted for the inflation and plus added for another 10% of increased allocation. And that income value, sorry, expense value should be lower than the income that what you have put in, what you have calculated. If the income is higher than the expense, that means you are in a comfortable phase, at least for medium term. When I say medium term, at least 5 years. This is the first step someone should do. After this, whatever the money, so then you need to look at all your assets, whether those assets are really able to generate you that kind of income what is required. If they are not, you need to look at the reallocation of those assets. So the first criteria to set the things right is making a budget and looking at all your income, and income should exceed your expenses. Expenses adjusted by inflation and at least 10% higher than the basics, higher than the inflation adjusted expense.
Sir, my next question is, what are the sources of investment opportunities and what should they keep in mind while investing as per their risk profile?
Yeah. So I would take up the latter part and answer it. Risk is something which is typically underestimated, and returns are overestimated. Most likely, for example, year like last year, 23 and 24, markets have delivered almost 34% return. And these type of returns typically do not come all the times. Okay, once in a decade kind of an opportunity. I have not seen it in my career in a year which is delivering 35. And those are the amazing returns. What happens is we get masked by these returns. We think that these are the returns which we can generate. And people typically end up investing in those type of assets, which will end up, they think that they will give 35% return consistently, and they lose all the money or the value of that money in that whole process. So this is what I call underestimating of the risk. So I don't really understand the risk, and I believe that whatever is available in the market, which is look very flashy, is the right number, and we go by it. So risk is something which someone has to evaluate based on the asset that they have, the income what they need, and the lifestyle of a particular person, and the cultural background they come from. It may be possible that if a person is from a very conservative family, where family always try to protect the money through the FDs and all those. For that kind of a person, it is very, very difficult to put the money into the share market. Now, if he goes and invest, most likely the case that he will not got a right advice. And the chances that he may end up losing the money, what he has invested. And once he loses the money, for sure that he will exit the market rather than participating again. Classic case is 2019 and 20 when the COVID hit. Market went down from all the way from 42,000 level to 28,000. Many of the senior citizens who were advised by many people when the market went up to 42,000 level from all the way from 35,000 level in 2 months of time frame, most of the traders and the non-competent advisors, I won't say unsolicited advisors, have advised them to invest in certain things. People lost their money. When market started going down, after going down, they took all their money at losses and they never came back. So understanding the risk with respect to the investment is very, very important from the point of the culture, the income that is required, the lifestyle that what we have, and the budget, income and expense budget, which I talked about. Now, there are various opportunities. I would ideally classify into two types of opportunities in terms of investments. One is called conservative opportunities. The second one is the market-linked opportunities. Predominant conservative opportunities are government-linked schemes like your NPS, PPF, senior citizen savings scheme, post office savings, post office monthly income plans, and various other schemes which are introduced by the government of India. Earlier,